Welcome to Fearless and Flawed. Today's guest is Anisa Crespo, the co-founder of the Million Dollar Mom Society, and she serves as executive producer and co-host of the docuseries The Million Dollar Room. She's also president of Global Women of Impact, a published author and speaker, and a faith-driven entrepreneur whose mission is to empower and support women, especially moms, to build legacy brands and achieve lasting influence and financial freedom.
And I'm Serena, and I help bold leaders become the go-to experts in their space.
And I'm Sarah, an email marketing pro here to convert clicks into cash. And together, Serena and I are two women in charge, digging into the fearless, the flawed, and the oh so fabulous journeys of female founders everywhere that are rewriting the rules.
Let's dive in. Anissa, welcome to our show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here. I'm excited.
So, obviously, the first question we want to ask is about the Million Dollar Mom Society. Tell us about that. What is it? How did you start it? Why did you start it?
Yeah, so Million Dollar Mom Society was founded on the principle of collaboration over competition. So my business partner, who lives in LA, I live in Orlando, Florida. We were both in the online space. We had just kind of started, launching our own coaching businesses, serving moms in business, trying to help them grow and scale and just live their best lives, become financially free. And while we were successful individually, we were following along each other's journeys, and we were like, how can we just come together and build an absolute empire? And that is what we have done. So in the past 12 years, we have made incredible strides in our business and for our clients. And Million Dollar Mom Society was born that way. It was just two women coming together. It started out as a Facebook group. We had about 200 people in a Facebook group that was started back during COVID and then sat dormant for about 4 years. And last year, after I left my six-figure corporate job to go all in on myself and my business, I decided that there was something with the Facebook group. And within 3 months, we had grown it to 5,000 people completely organically. And now, a little bit over a year later, we have about 16,000 women inside.
Wow. That's impressive.
How does that feel saying that? I mean, because that's like something we all want to get to.
Yeah, it's incredible. And it's not just incredible, the success that we've experienced, but it's incredible that we really pride ourselves on the space that we've created for women who come into our group and say, this doesn't feel like another Facebook group. We really feel seen, heard, and supported in here. And that's what it's really all about at the end of the day.
I love that. And where when you think about, how you've built this company, right? And where your career has been, what was that moment? Because I think a lot of our listeners want to get to where you've been, right? But it's not easy. And I think that that's something that we really focus on here is like those moments, especially those moments of doubt, but then usually those moments are springboards for, okay, I can do this, right? So just kind of walk us through the beginning of when you're like, okay, I'm doing this thing, I have a vision, the docu-series is going to come up eventually, like that falls on, but that's never just luck, right? That's a lot of preparation. And so just walk us through like how you grew that, because I think sometimes we hear like the big, the big flashy metrics, which is great, but usually it starts off with a group of 10, with a group of 20, usually just builds. So just kind of walk us through the highs, the lows, lessons learned for anyone kind of going through it. It's like you said 12 years. 12 years was how long kind of it took to grow this thing?
1 year.
1 year.
12 months.
Well, girl, give us the dirt. Give us the 12-month masterclass plan.
Yeah. So basically, my partner Natasha and I, we had both been entrepreneurs for years. We both, tried different things. Some were successful, some were not. We both invested in real estate prior to this. There's a lot of people kind of miss the mark on this when they see our very rapid success. Like we hit six figures within 6 months. We just celebrated our first six-figure month in June. We're on track for six figures again this month and seven figures for the year, which is kind of unheard of for a startup that is about a year old. So it's really a testament to never giving up even on the hard days and just continuing to believe in yourself. But not only that, continuing to take actionable steps, even on the days where you feel like burning it all to the ground. And believe me, there are a lot of those days. It's not easy. Entrepreneurship is not for the weak. It is not, people make it look very seamless online. You see people on social media who are very successful, but you don't always see the blood, sweat, and tears that go on behind the scene. And that is really what we try to show women. We want to let them know, like, we go through this stuff just the same way you do. And every time we level up, there's a new level of imposter syndrome and stress and, financial insecurities and just different things and challenges. Because what it takes to get to 5 figures per month is not the same thing as it takes to get to 6 figures per month and then beyond. Every time you level up, you're dealing with different stress levels. And what's really propelled us is putting ourselves in rooms that we felt were too big for us. So we are advocates about getting in the room, and not just because we have our event called the $1 Million Room, but we built this room and we built the rooms that are online and the spaces like our Facebook group, our monthly membership called the Society. We built these spaces for the women who are working through doubt, working through fear, working through shame and guilt, working through feeling like they're not enough, like they're trying all the different things. They're posting consistently. They're doing everything that people are telling them to do, but they're not seeing sales convert. So we create space to hold for those women, to show them not only that it's possible, but that it's totally doable. And once you get in alignment, there is no stopping you. When I am out of alignment with something, I feel frustration, I feel anger, I feel anxiety. When I am truly aligned with my mission and my goals, everything flows seamlessly.
So one of the things we've talked about a few times on this podcast is how women very rarely hit that glass ceiling, go past that glass ceiling of the $1 million business. So what really is the secret? I mean, we all work incredibly hard. We all put in the hours. We all want to burn it to the ground and don't on a very regular basis. Me the other day looking up McDonald's jobs, realistically. So, I mean, what is the one takeaway you would give? It can't just be keep trying, keep doing it. What is the one takeaway that you could give our listeners?
No, it's not just that. It's definitely there is no one takeaway, right? Like, it's a compilation that compounds over time. It's all the seeds that you plant. So a lot of people think like it's just the content, or it's just this one strategy, or this one lead generation thing, or getting the marketing down. It's not. It's all of the things tied into one, but it's not just business strategy. There are pillars to becoming a successful entrepreneur. There's health and wellness, there's spirituality, there's relationship building, there's mindset, which is absolutely critical. It all starts in the mind. A lot of people come to us wanting to know, how can I make money online? We can show you strategies to make money online. We've done it many different ways. However, if your mindset is not right and your health and wellness is off, or, just you're out of alignment, it doesn't compound to a successful woman. So that's the space that we've really created for women to come into, so they can get all holistically aspects of becoming successful. And putting yourself in rooms where women are already doing the things that you want to do is absolutely priceless. I cannot stress this enough. People come to us all the time and they're wanting to invest in our programs, but they're saying, I can't invest until I start making sales. And unfortunately, that's just backwards. If I had said I can't invest in myself or my business until I start making sales, I wouldn't be celebrating my second 6-figure month in a year of being in business. It just wouldn't happen. A lot of times, especially in the digital online space, women don't treat their business the same way a brick and mortar would treat their business, right? Like, if you were starting a bakery, you would never say, I'm going to go sell 300 cakes and then I'll buy the oven. You just wouldn't say that. And it doesn't work that way. So investing in yourself, stretching yourself, putting yourself in rooms where women are doing the things that you want to do that, they are already successful at and you want to be successful at. And then, of course, all the back end marketing and business strategy and mindset stuff, inner work, all of those things.
And so you've referenced two things, which I don't know where to begin. Let me start with first. You've mentioned kind of inner work, like a couple times, or that idea of alignment, right? There's been a couple words you said that are very much of that. When we talk business, it tends to be more cash flow, right? Inventory, overhead, but then inner work, alignment. Not that you said this, but manifestation. We hear a lot of that. That it seems like that played a huge role in your own journey. Walk us through that. Like, what does that look like for someone who's like, what exactly does that mean? And what role did it play in your business?
Absolutely. So everything is energy, whether people are woo-woo or believe in that kind of stuff or not. It's actually a fact. Everything is energy. Money is energy. And when we first started our business, we were so laser focused on the strategy and, getting down systems in place and SOPs and all that kind of stuff. And we did that. We did that straight off the bat. But we were very stagnant for a couple of months, and we were either seeing a dip in sales or we weren't seeing an increase, right? Yeah. So like now we're here. How can we get to the next level? Because that's what happens. Every time you hit a goal, you want to get to your next goal. And it's infinite, right? It just keeps going and going. You talk to a millionaire, they want to do 10 million. I have a business coach who I just had a VIP day with, and we were at a retreat at her house. She's got 3 7-figure businesses, 1 8-figure businesses, and she's trying to figure out how to become a billionaire. Like, she's like, this is how billionaires think. So this is the level I want to get to. So it doesn't matter where you're at. You're always constantly trying to level up. So the point is, when we realized that we really needed to start implementing some of that energy and manifestation and things of that nature into our business, we just skyrocketed. I can't even begin to tell you. We hired a coach. Her name is Melanie Ann Layer. If you've never heard of her, I highly recommend her. She's absolutely incredible. She went from sleeping in her car to 10 years later crossing $100 million in her business. She's phenomenal. And she is very energy focused. So she does, dabble with the strategy, but energy is her main focus. Now, our other business coach that I was just referencing to is a little bit of both, right? Or a lot of both. So she focuses on both. Our company, the way we help our clients, it's very 50-50 balance. We focus heavily on business strategy, but also heavily on energy. And to me, we would not be where we are today without both. I think they're both important.
That makes perfect sense. And so that is kind of a springboard. If I can sum it up, that's a springboard of a way of thinking, of a belief system that then allows for all the business success to come in.
So how do you shake off those bad days? Those days that kind of land on you like a ton of bricks, and like I just said, you're looking at whether you can be a fry cook at McDonald's all of a sudden. How do you get that energy change?
I literally quit a very cozy 6-figure job that I was at for 10 years. When it comes to all the things that women in corporate America want in a career, I ticked all the boxes. I had the work from home, the flexibility, the seniority, the salary, great bosses, great clients, great colleagues, like all the things. But it wasn't filling my cup. And so I left it to really chase my dreams and do something that was in alignment with my purpose and my mission that I was called to on this earth. So there have been so many times where I find myself on LinkedIn looking for a job, right? And I'm just like, this is crazy, because even though we have all this revenue coming in, we are so heavily invested in our business. A lot of people think that revenue is the same thing as salary. If they're in that 9 to 5, employee mindset, it's not the same thing. Revenue is business revenue, and what you do to distribute that in your business, it looks different for everybody. There's some people where their revenue is their salary. It's not for us. We invest all our dollars right back into our business. And it is also one of the things that has propelled us very far. So on those hard days where I find myself thinking about burning it to the ground, I take self-care days or goddess days or whatever it is. I will cancel appointments if they're not, critical. I will have my husband watch the kids. I will do something for myself, whether it's just taking a walk outside and really recharge. I try to connect with nature. Maybe I'll get a massage. Maybe I'll just get up and go outside and breathe in the air that is provided for us to live. Like just little things to appreciate like that. And then take a deep breath and say to myself, look at how far you've come. You're not where you want to be, but you are nowhere near where you were. And really start to show gratitude and appreciation for all of the things that have been made possible for women to be in this revolution that we're in today. Because post-COVID, it really allowed for us to start and grow businesses the way women have never been able to do before. We have opportunities that my mother didn't have as a single mother, but single mothers today have.
Are you talking about the online revolution?
Not just online. I mean, just the fact that yes, online we can do business with women all over the world. We're in different countries here having a brilliant conversation. But it's more than that. It's connecting with people after having gone through something so tragic that everybody experienced worldwide. It wasn't like, okay, this is specific to the United States or one country or another. Like we went through this huge tragedy and then we came out of it, and it really shaped the way that we're able to connect and appreciate things and show gratitude. And I just believe that the revolution for women right now is so strong because people are starting to see that women are more than just, and whether you want to be like a housewife or a stay-at-home mom, everybody has their own thing that fills their cup. But for me, that's not for me. Like I am a CEO all day, every day. And I'm just so grateful for the opportunity to be able to be who I am. Like that's who I was put on this earth to be.
See, I'd actually like to take you back a little bit now. Something that actually made me smile as you were talking about is when you want to burn it all to the ground, you go outside and you breathe some air. And I think this is really key to get across to people that are entrepreneurs that are or thinking about starting their journey, things that other people take for granted. We see a special. I can't remember the last time I walked in the grass or whatever, because I'm so focused on my business, what I'm doing, who I want or where I want my business to be in the future. Forget the Instagram pictures. I'm in it. I'm 100% in it. And everything that goes wrong is personal to me. Everything that my day is taken up by my business, and going out and getting fresh air is a luxury. It's not something that happens all the time. So I just wanted to go back to that because you brought that home really nicely, just with your simplicity in stating what you do when it gets too much for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it could be something even like for me, I have 5-year-old twins. Like maybe I just want to step away for the afternoon and take my kids to the park or take them in the pool or whatever that looks like. I have the freedom to do that because I have created a life that allows me to.
Right, right. And then as you're creating this life, a lot of fun things are happening in the meantime, like the docu-series, right? Because I think like that's huge. That is like, walk us through how this came about. Walk us through again, we like to be very real as you've been with like, hey, the more things that get on my plate, sometimes I have to step away, but I have had one experience of being on TV with a major network, the 50-page contract, not a docu-series, but just like a one and done opportunity, and it was stressful as hell. No amount of walk could have helped me at that point. I needed gin, lots of gin. But no, but again, but in all seriousness, yes, walking and healthy habits, and to your point, mental state. I wish I hadn't known then what I know now, kind of about breathing. It'll be okay. But tell us about docu series producing, like this is major. So what is it about? How did it find you? How did you find it? And what's the goal of the docuseries?
Well, it absolutely found me. So it started as an Instagram ad. I was on Instagram, which I'm never on. Facebook is my primary platform. And I saw an ad to be on a show called Legacy Makers. And everything inside of me said, who are you to be on this show? Tens of thousands of people apply to be on the show. Only 1% gets selected. You'll never be picked. You have no experience in media. Why would you even waste your time with this application? And that's that imposter syndrome, right? It's like these limiting beliefs we have about ourselves that holds us back in life. So I immediately shut that down and I applied to be on this show. It's called Legacy Makers. Not only did they select us to be on the show, so we've already recorded that episode. It is aired. It is currently on Apple TV, Roku, Inside Success. You can watch it. You can even go just to Inside Success, I think .com might be the link. And it's the name of our episode. I think it's like, I forget what it's called. It's like $1 Million Mom or something along those lines, or From Corporate to Calling or something. You'll see Anisa and Natasha. That's me and my business partner. So that episode aired. It's out. It's going to be on Amazon Prime. I think in August it drops on Amazon Prime. But the producers of that show, and it was one of those one and done things, right? But the producers of the show loved us and our brand and our mission to help moms in business so much that they reached back out and asked us if we would like our own docuseries. So we were like, yes, please. Where do we sign? And this is a huge production. It is a $1 million production. And it is very stressful. And we could have had this be about anything. We both have toddlers. We could have had it be about our families. That would have made for great TV. But what we wanted to do was really show the world that women on TV and in docuseries are more than just desperate housewives. We are business owners. We are seeing clients in the cracks of time during naps and in between snacks. And we are building businesses, whether you're a mom or you're not a mom, women are always busy. We are building businesses sometimes from our living room. We are so powerful, and we wanted to give women the opportunity to speak on our stage. So we're having an event in November in Laguna Beach, California. It's called the $1 Million Room. That's also the name of the docuseries. And we have 2 keynote speakers. We have 10 speakers. We have a few speaker spots lined up, a few left, I should say. We have several speakers lined up. A few spots are still left. I don't know when this will air, but if anybody feels called to be a speaker on this stage, we are not looking for the woman who is already doing multiple 7 and 8 figures. We are looking for the women like us who have built a business from the ground up, who are stepping into their power and saying, I am ready for the next level and I have something to share with the world, bigger than myself, for the world. So those are the women that we're looking for our stage. It's going to be absolutely amazing. It's a 2-day event, but if you're a VIP or a speaker, there's a VIP cocktail mocktail hour. There's a VIP spa day to wrap it all up. There's a private manifestation dinner on 11/11. It's going to be absolutely incredible. It's very luxurious. The property is unbelievable. And it will air on all of these major platforms that I've said that the other show is on as well. So the reach for this production is over 1 billion with the B people. And it just really tugs at our heart that our mission can get out into the world of showing moms who might just be sitting at home watching TV and saying, you have an idea, you can turn this into $1 million business.
That is so, and how has this experience, has this strengthened kind of your pre-existing beliefs? Has this kind of altered, like, hey, I knew things were hard, but now this has kind of made me up level and even my resilience? Like, how is this whole experience, when you speak to women listening, like, yes, I want that. And so how have you kind of grown and changed through the process of this new opportunity?
It has strengthened my faith. I mean, I'm a woman of faith. I am a believer, and I always, faith over fear all day long. Like I always say, most people live in fear over faith. and they're always worried about what could go wrong. What if this fails? What if, you know what I mean? I strongly live in my faith over fear. And I always ask myself, what is the best that could happen? So when I applied to be on that TV show, I asked myself, what is the best could happen? And I didn't even know. God had such bigger plans for me and for my children and their children and the generations to come that we are going to impact in the world. I didn't even know what it was. But because I took that little leap of faith in myself and I shut down the limiting beliefs and the fears, I now have this opportunity and I can now give it to other women as well.
Is that a little bit of like, it sounds almost like, and I love the way you phrased that, but it almost sounds like, that sounds like a legacy type of statement, right? Like, I want, this is who I am now. Is that how you would say, how do you want people to think about you now? What your legacy is? That kind of on par with what you just said? Because it's so profound, not in the moment, but who you are versus and who you want to be. Talk through like, what do you hope to leave behind in this whole journey? Not behind meaning, once we pass on, but just when people watch, you've touched on mothers kind of seeing themselves in you, but professionally, personally, what else do you really hope to leave behind and to have other women cling on to?
Well, I was raised by a single mother and everything, we grew up poor. Everything was always, I can't afford this, I can't have that kind of mindset, very scarce. And it took me decades to move from a scarcity mindset into an abundance mindset. And when I shifted, everything changed in my world. And it is absolutely my legacy because my mother died in debt when she was 61 years old. And that is not a legacy that I am prepared to leave for my children. Now, she was incredible. She taught me so many things. She's one of the main reasons I am the independent woman that I am today. However, when it came to money, we were always taught, go to school, get a job, climb the corporate ladder, live happily ever after. So I went to school, I got a job, I climbed the corporate ladder, but I didn't live happily ever after, and something was missing. And what was missing was me being in alignment with living my purpose. And my purpose, I had this spiritual awakening right before I decided to quit my job, that I am here to help women. After overcoming tons of trauma in my life, being in a male-dominated industry for 10 years, I'm here to help women. I had no idea how I was going to do that. The how is none of my business. The how is none of my business. Everything will align when you are focused on your mission, your why, what you want to accomplish, the people that you want to reach, the lives that you want to change. Money is the byproduct of the women that we are becoming through the work that we do. And that is absolutely my legacy. I just want to show women what's possible when they, first of all, step out of their comfort zone, because that's where the change and growth happens, and just believe in themselves and understand that they can have and do and be whatever and whoever they want.
Honestly, we couldn't agree more. Just this whole podcast, the whole reason we do this, the whole reason we're here, it's for exactly those purposes. Exactly.
Right, right. And I think, something that we discuss a lot on the podcast is women, we often really frame, we're about women and their journey, but naturally sometimes, our counterparts, men, come into the conversation, right? And we've always said this, we are lovers of the men in our world, big supporters of them. They support us. Serena and I have been very fortunate to have a lot of supportive, strong men in our circle who believe in us. But that doesn't negate the fact that sometimes in business, statistics are statistics, right? Women in general get less funding because, and there could be many reasons why, certainly. But one of the reasons, out of the mammoth reasons, is that sometimes we have that higher imposter syndrome, or sometimes we don't like to overpromise, or sometimes, all the things that might make us nurturing and wonderful friends. And if we choose to be mothers or aunties or caretakers, some of those things, the nurture and the emotional component is great, but sometimes that holds us back a little bit in business because, well, I don't want to overpromise, right? Until I can deliver. But people pleasing, all of that. But what I'm
All
hearing
those
from,
words that you just said, Sarah, were like under that people pleaser
yeah,
umbrella.
I think, like, like Anissa had said, like, when you're saying you just got to do it. My visceral gut reaction, and I'll be very honest, is always like, but what if? But what if? Even though I've done what you've done, I've taken the leap of faith, things have worked out. It's still inherent in me. And I'm wondering, Serena, do you still feel that way? Like there's always that little battle of like, but it's not that easy. But what if?
It's not that easy. It really isn't that
And that's
easy.
okay. And she's not saying it's easy. She's saying, but you got to do it. Am I summing that up kind of properly? Like, but you got to do it. It wasn't easy for you, but easy is also not being stuck in that cycle where you didn't find abundance, happiness, fulfillment.
Well, you're spot on, and you have to choose your hard, right? I am someone who has dealt with weight loss and weight gain battle my entire life from childhood. I have lost and gained over 150 pounds in a clip. And, I'm where I am right now very comfortably, but there have been times where I wasn't. I was 360 pounds when I gave birth to my twins in 2020. And I always say you must choose your hard, because it is so hard to follow a regimen, diet, exercise, fitness program. But it is so much harder to be overweight the way I was, very unhealthy. So for me, I chose my hard. I choose my hard. Yes, doing this every single day, it's a lifestyle choice, but doing it every day, it gets a little bit easier every day. I live my life by the 21-90 rule, 21 days to form a habit, 90 days to make it a lifestyle. And once you just start doing it every single day, whether that's a weight loss journey or whether it's a business journey, when you start becoming the woman who you desire to be today, instead of saying, oh, I'll do that when I become her. Oh, I'll do that when I make that first sale or whatever, what have you. When you just start doing those things now, it becomes a part of your DNA. And then the universe just aligns and puts opportunities and people in your path to create the way to become that person.
I'm going to back this up. I've been saying for years, oh, I'm just a graphic designer. I'm not just a graphic designer. I never was just a graphic designer. I don't draw pretty pictures for a living. Pretty pictures, I love drawing, but that's not who I am. And I spent many years just kind of squashing down who I was and what I do to I don't know, probably protect myself from anybody calling out my imposter syndrome.
We are women, so we are hardwired to be natural caregivers. We're very, very giving. We're always trying to pour from our cup, whether it's full or not. And this is why I prioritize self-care. My mornings start with God, and then me, and then my family, and then my business. And that is a non-negotiable. And most women can't grasp that. They feel like they're being selfish, but self-care is not selfish. I'm here to tell you. And you will be so much more productive in your business, in your family, in your life, if you take care of you first. But because we have this giving nature, and like you were saying, it goes back to even, it wasn't so long ago where women could get a line of credit without a man present. Like it's crazy. We're not that far off. Like, yeah, we've come a long way, but we've still got a long way to go. And it takes women to stand up and say, no more. Like, we're going to do all the things that make us happy and we want to do, whether that's staying at home with family, building a business, or both. Because for me, it's both. But I have so many women, come to us and they'll say, like, I don't want to charge for my services. I just want to help women. Well, that's nonsense. Okay. Because what you have to offer is super valuable. So many women have been stay-at-home moms for so long. Now they're empty nested. They're ready to start a business. And they're like, well, I have no skills. That's nonsense. Okay. If you've been a mother for 20 years, you are a problem solver. You are a caregiver and a medical healer and all so many skill sets, like, a chef and, all the things. But even working in corporate, and then we come out of corporate, we're like, oh, I was just an administrative assistant. No, you helped run a multi-million-dollar company. And it all comes down to that. That's mindset work. That's self-talk. we have to be kind to ourselves. When me and my business partner catch ourselves talking, saying things, we'll be like, don't talk about my friend like that. That's not nice, because we can't help it. I mean, we can help it, but we have to be mindful of it. And being self-aware is, part of the first few actionable steps, like just paying attention to some of the things that we say to ourselves on a day-to-day. Most women would never talk to their spouse or their friends or their boss the way they speak to themselves. And I'm here to change that.
I don't even think they'd speak to their worst enemies in the biggest of fights ever, the way they speak to themselves.
Exactly. And you know what the other thing is, especially when you're in the entrepreneurship space, most people, it depends on who you're surrounding yourself with. Like me, I choose only to surround myself by other people who understand where I'm at, what I'm doing, building things. Like if we're sitting at the table and we're talking about other people, I'm getting up and leaving. But if we're sitting at the table and we're talking about next quarter's numbers, how to level up in 2026, different products and services we're going to be offering, how to help the next woman, I want to be seated at that table. But what happens is, especially the people that are closest to us, why are you doing this? Why would you want to do this? Why would you quit a 6-figure job to start a business? That's crazy. No, it's not crazy. Staying at a 6-figure job where I'm capped at 6 figures for the next 40 years when I could be creating 7 figures in 2 years, that's crazy.
That makes perfect sense. And you're very clear in that, which I love too, right? Like, what conversations you're willing to partake in and which you're not. And that brings us to the point of the podcast where, speaking of conversations and clarity, we always like to throw a little curveball, but a fun curveball, right? Because you seem like someone, you're very prepared, you're very ready to take on the challenge. So we have a tradition here where we always ask our previous guest, to ask a question. They answer a question and then they ask a question for the next guest. And they have no idea who you are, what line of work you do. This question is a good one because sometimes it can be very specific and people go, oh, I have no idea where I want a vacation if it's a travel advisor. But this comes from Janice, who said, okay, for your next guest, I want to know if you could go back in time, what's the one thing you would change? And I have no regrets and I wouldn't change anything is not an acceptable answer, according to Janice.
Fair. That's a fair thing. We all have something we want to change.
So what would that be? I'll give you some time to think. It's broad, but it can also be very specific.
I'm prepared to answer now. I'm going to respectfully decline with Janice about not wanting to change anything because I am who I am today because of my journey. However, I will respectfully answer her question. If there's one thing I could have changed, it would have been investing in coaches before I thought I was ready to. So I started my entrepreneurship journey in 2020, but I did it all on my own for 4 years. For 4 solid years, I did not, I would buy like little low ticket things here and there that did absolutely nothing for me. I mean, occasionally you would get like a golden nugget, but really investing in coaches. I mean, the 5, the 10, the 20, we have coaches that we've paid 6 figures for. And there is a reason for that, because when you have somebody who you can lean on and you can walk side by side with, and you're doing the things that you want to be successful at, that they've already done, they've already made the mistakes, it will skyrocket your progress and your journey. So while yes, my journey is my own and I did make tons of mistakes, in the long run, had I invested $5,000 or $10,000 in a coach, I probably could have saved $50,000 in the long run. So that would be my answer to that.
I think Janice would be very pleased with that, as she is actually a coach.
And hey, it's not a shameless plug just because I'm a coach. It's just my honest opinion.
Love that. And what would you ask the next guest? You have no idea what they do, what their story is?
If there was one number of monthly revenue that would make you feel like you were totally satisfied and you didn't need to continue on anymore, you were guaranteed that number, would you burn down your mission and your business and just live your life?
Are you writing that down, Serena? I think you are. That's a good question. We have to literally write it. We record these things. You wouldn't believe how many times we're like, what was the question?
No, and I get it. And the reason I ask this is because so many people are always so focused on the bottom line and the money, because obviously we need money to live and pay our bills and do the things that give us freedom and happiness and all of that. And I am a firm believer that good money in the hands of good women is going to change the world for the best. But we have missions as well. And a lot of times we're doing things, especially if we're working a job, that is not aligned in our mission. And what I want for women is to do the things that they feel are their mission, that brings them joy and happiness, that makes them the money as well.
For me, I'm going to answer this. For me, my business is my mission. It's not the money. It never was the money. The money is something I need. I need to survive. I need to pay my bills. But I still have to do what I do. I have to be who I am.
I can't wait to see what our future guest will say. And Anissa, for anyone listening who's like, okay, I'm interested, I'm curious, like great mindset, great question, you're thought provoking. Where can people find you? Where can people watch the docu-series? Because there's so many avenues and channels to kind of get bits of you and bits of the mindset. That where would you recommend that people Google, or what website, or just, if you're doing Instagram lives on Fridays, shout it out so people can really engage at the maximum level with you.
Yeah. So the best way to get in and stay in our community is just to join our Facebook group. And if you go to milliondollarmom.org, you can see all the things. So you can watch the show, you can apply to be on the docuseries or just attend the docuseries, the TV filming event in Laguna Beach. You can join our coaching programs. You can be in our world and see all the different things that we have to offer. We have a magazine, we have a podcast. Like there's so many different ways to work with us. But getting in our Facebook group, it's totally free to join. And you can get there through milliondollarmom.org as well. And then once you're inside of our Facebook group, you'll see all the things as well. And I'm very approachable. You can DM me on Facebook or Instagram. Instagram, I'm Keeping Up with the Crespos. Facebook, I'm Anisa Crespo.
Wonderful. And we will, of course, always have information on our website, fearlessandflawed.com. So anyone listening who's like, I didn't catch that. When you do the rewind thing like 10 times in a row, like old school voicemails, where you're like, what was the number? You don't have to do that, people. Just, it's on the website, fearlessandflawed.com. All of her information will be there. Well, this has just been absolutely a treat. Listen, I'm usually motivated. I feel more motivated. I don't know what motivated to take a nap. I don't know. Because listen, at any moment I could. So here's the thing. I live in two worlds, high energy, but also maybe it's the Spanish blood in me. My father's Spanish. At my most energetic moments, sometimes I just have to like lay down and think about what just happened. Does that make sense? Because it's like,
what's your human design?
What's what?
Your human design.
Did you ask, what is my human design? Or are you saying that is my human design?
I'm asking you, what is your human design? Are you a projector? Do you not know what human design is?
I don't know what human design is. I mean, I could give you an answer.
You're a projector. I bet you're a projector.
Okay. I am a projector.
A projector. Okay. So, okay. I just want to touch, what is this?
So human design is, we could go down a rabbit hole here. I know we're wrapping up, but I encourage you to look it up. Find out what your human design is, and you'll be pleasantly surprised. When I really dove into mine, I'm a Mani Gen, which is a manifesting generator. 2-4 is my line. My whole life just made sense.
Wonderful. Again, always giving us bits of wisdom. Thank you so much for joining us. And for anyone listening, please do follow Anisa. Her story is wonderful. And again, I think everyone will see a little bit of themselves in her. So thank you.
And follow Fearless and Flawed, hit subscribe, and don't forget to tune in next time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, my dear.